Well, hello, whoever you are. Welcome to the Geeknd Live, the most interactive stream on the YouTubes, maybe. And in this week's alleged entertainment, we are going to talk Dark Side Luke in Lego form. Yeah, I bet you're bricking it. And also new books, which is something that got announced like pretty much just before I came on air. Breaking news. So we'll take a look at that. And the man, former boy, who could have been young Anakin Skywalker in the Phantom Menace. There's a really nice little documentary about him. We'll talk about him later on as well. And also a really cool, I think anyway, prequels BTS tidbit that I spotted on the Twitters this week. But first, let's pop over to the chat because, as I said, it is a very interactive stream. Also, sorry if I'm a little bit like hoarse sounding, a little bit hoarse looking maybe as well. It's been a rough week of illness in the flu department. Not COVID, did a test, negative. So yeah, just a bit of leftover flu I'm shaking off, but I'm here for you. And it is an interactive stream. So let's go over to the chat and say hello to people who aren't here anymore. Supreme Leader Brad Snoke popped in to let us know that he will be watching in the future. If you're watching in the future, aka the replay like Brad Snoke, leave us a comment, say hello. Sears Smash Channel, we're counting down 66 minutes before we started. Don't know if you're here now, Ethan 15. But hello to you, who was here earlier, who's very excited about the book announcement. Peter was here as well. I assume you're still here, Peter, all the way over in the Netherlands. And also, Anders is here. Anders Lay, Gaz Nottingham, Glenn, the contributor previously formerly known as the Geeky Hippie, currently, because it is October, the Spooky Hippie is here. Marco as well over in Ireland, and David. Now David's here, I can take off that scrolling banner at the bottom, which asks you to follow social media and hit the like button, because David is my man for asking you to hit the like button. So hello to you, David. And the Sarge is here. It's quite rare that the Sarge graces us with his virtual presence live. He's often there on the replay. It's good to see you live, mate. And Clays is here as well. Yeah, Glenn, I'm looking forward to seeing your first scripted video over on the Wheel of Time channel. Keep us posted on that. When it's out, we'll tell everybody on the live stream. Right then, a little bit of housekeeping before we get into those stories. And Jorge, I'm going to say hello to Jorge as well. Good to see you, mate. Nice to see Jorge here live on a Thursday. It's 3 p.m. here in Mexico City. In the Airbnb, still not on brand. Anyway, housekeeping. I want to do this now because I always forget at the end, and this includes Jorge, but thank you to all Patreon members and just everybody in general for supporting the channel in all the different ways. So that's done, because I do often forget and I feel bad. I have sleepless nights until the next stream, thinking, okay, I'll make up for it now on the next stream, and then I forget again, and I have to go through it all again until the next stream. But at least I've achieved it this time. Please hit that like button as well if you haven't already, because I'm now braving these live streams. I used to unlist them afterwards because I have this mass exodus of subscribers every time I go live. Don't care anymore, so I leave them on. So hitting that like button is even more important now, apparently. Also, you might have seen Lash D's name on that Patreon banner poster thing. I want to thank Lash D, who left a lovely comment on the recent Brian Blessed Boss Nass actor and many other roles to his name as well. I did a video, I raided the archive and put out a video of him doing various Star Wars impressions, which are pretty good, pretty fun. Brian's full of energy, so always good just to watch him talking about anything. To be honest, Lash D left a lovely comment, which I've pinned to the top of that video. So thank you for those kind words, Lash D. They mean a lot to me. And also, I have linked to the Brian Blessed video in this video description if you haven't seen it yet. It's like, I think, less than 2 minutes, and it's a bit of fun. And it's close to 1,000 views, which for me these days was a big deal. So if you can help it reach the 1K mark, that would be great. Also, I think that's it in terms of housekeeping. Oh, I want to mention that I saw No Time to Die this week, the new James Bond film. I'm not going to say any spoilers because I know it's not come out in the States yet. I'm not usually. I'm not a big Bond fan. I've really enjoyed most of the Daniel Craig Bond films, but I absolutely loved No Time to Die. And I'm not going to say anything. Again, it's not out in the States. I've spoken to Simon D, who we all know from the chat privately, because he's a big Bond fan, and he's helped me understand a few things about it. And we seem to be on the same page in terms of our level of enjoyment for it. But I know that's not the case for a lot of Bond fans out there who are quite angry, because whilst it does feel like a Bond film at times, it's probably the weirdest Bond film out there. But a perfect send-off, in my opinion, for Daniel Craig, and also amazing action. Really, really well done. Beautiful looking film. And yeah, I feel like it's the last Jedi of Bond films. It does seem to be a little bit polarizing within the hardcore Bond community, which I'm not part of anyway, but I really enjoyed it, and I might even go and see it again. So yeah. Anyway, let's get into our first story. Then I'll pop over to the chat. Okay, this isn't really a story. This just caught my eye, and it's I think it's pretty cool. A little bit of prequels, behind the scenes information that I was not aware of. And you know I love stuff like this, little bits of trivia. Right, so this is Paul Duncan on Twitter, who I believe is an author. And he's talking about Rob Coleman, who is like an ILM legend. Yeah, Paul Duncan is an author, editor, wordsmith, Star Wars. Hey, James Bond's getting another mention. Anyway, he's dating back here to August 12th, 2004. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith animation director Rob Coleman recorded himself hanging from a balcony to help animate Yoda clinging to the Senate podium. So this is after the duel with Palpatine, as can be seen in the August 12th, 2004 3D graphic. In the final frame, Yoda can be seen losing his grip. So here's one of the kind of pictures from the animation process. Still looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I think this will be the final. No, hang on. Come to that. There's the final frame that we saw in the final film. And there is, let's go back, Rob Coleman. So Rob Coleman actually did hang himself from a balcony. Now, I don't know how high this balcony was. To be honest, it doesn't look too high from what I can make out looking at this picture. But that is dedication to the art of animation. Incredible. I love stuff like that. However, it did make me shudder when I read this, because it reminded me of that scene. And that nail scrape is gross from Yoda. It's a horrible noise, and it makes me shudder every time, even just reading about it and seeing the still without the sound effect made me shudder. But anyway, that was cool. I enjoyed stumbling across that. You see, the internet can be a good thing, you know, full of wonder. Speaking of wonder, let's pop over to the chat before we get into our first main story. Yeah, Chad, the stopwatch Campbell, who tries his best to keep us to 30 minutes, is in the house. Gaz Nottingham, the Brian Blessed video was very funny and really well edited. Well done, Jamie. Thank you. Well done, Brian. More like, and well done, you Gaz, for watching it. I hope you've all watched it. It's linked to in this video description. Simon D, who we were just talking about, is here. Chad Campbell, I've not seen No Time to Die. I honestly hated the last one. They tried to make this all an Avengers universe where all the villains were connected or something. Yeah, well, this is the thing. If you haven't seen Spectre for a long time, or if you haven't seen Spectre at all, you probably need to watch it or rewatch it before going into No Time to Die, because there is more kind of crossovering going on. But honestly, I mean, I didn't dislike Spectre, actually. But No Time to Die is fantastic. And maybe Simon can sell you on it more in the chat, Chad. Glenn says the last one he saw was Skyfall, which is regarded as one of the finest, along with Casino Royale, of the Daniel Craig movies. But yeah, anyway, let's get into the first main story. It's not been a big week for Star Wars news, to be honest. But let's talk about what we can. Let's do what we can in this weird world. Right, so this is something about Lego, basically. Dark Side Luke. I don't know if anyone has seen the Star Wars Lego Terrifying Tales on Disney Plus at the moment. There is a Dark Side Luke. And yes, you should be bricking it. Still not funny. It's a Halloween special, obviously. And to be honest, I just skipped through it for now because time, life. And I did watch the dark side Luke story tale bit, which is really short. And my takeaway from it is that if Visions was the closest we'll get to a Star Wars what if, it's now probably the second closest, because obviously with under the Lego kind of banner, they can go a little bit more wild, a little bit more crazy with what they do, and obviously slapstick and silly as well. So this Dark Side Luke tale, it's set around the first Death Star destruction, and Luke has actually joined the Empire instead of the Rebellion and becomes Daddy Darth's apprentice. And again, it's obviously very silly, very slapstick. I mean, Vader gives Luke the Leia good luck kiss at one point in this like training montage. So it's there for laughs if you're into that kind of humor. It doesn't really explore how powerful or dangerous the dark side Luke would be. And to be honest, it got me thinking: is this something that we could see more of in terms of a dark side Luke? I don't personally think it is an idea actually that Lucasfilm will ever dig into in canon, but actually thinking about the possibilities does reinforce my desire for more non-canon content. We talked about this when Visions came out, and maybe this is a subject they could play with more. I don't know if that's something that you would want. I would be up for it if it was non-canon, to be honest. I think, anyway. I guess there could be interesting ways of doing it. And of course, if you're a fan of the old EU, Luke did go dark in Dark Empire, one of the very few Star Wars anythings I've actually read. I'll have, confirmation that I can read a picture book, essentially, at least. And is Dark Side Luke something you'd want to see? Maybe even in canon? Let us know in the chat. And this kind of brings us into this announcement that was made just a couple of hours ago, which meant I had to change my thumbnail just before coming live. And that is about these books. So I'll come over to the chat in a moment on both these stories. But there's been some book announcements. So, this isn't really up my street, as I've just, most of you will know this already, that I don't really read much. I mean, there's a load of books behind me at the moment, I think you can see. But first of all, they're in Spanish. I'm in someone else's house. This is an Airbnb. So there's my excuse for not reading them, because they're in Spanish, and I got to learn Spanish first before I can read books in Spanish. But maybe this could be my introduction to reading Star Wars books in English, because some of this sounds pretty cool. So this is on the official Star Wars website. New books starring Luke and Lando, Obi-Wan and Anakin, and more have been revealed. They've described them as some essential Star Wars stories. Let's have a look into them. So one of them is called Shadow of the Sith. I've not read this yet, by the way, because like I said, it came up breaking news shortly before coming on air. So I'm reading this for the first time, so I'll probably stumble over the words even more than I usually do. But Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. This is coming out on the 28th of June next year. And it will feature Luke and Lando. So nearly 2 decades on from the Battle of Endor, the Empire is dead. The tattered remnants of Palpatine's forces have fled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. But for the heroes of the New Republic, danger and loss are ever-present companions, even in this newly forged era of peace. How long is this? Jedi Master Luke Skywalker is haunted by visions of the dark side, foretelling an ominous secret growing somewhere in the depths of space on a dead world called Exegol. So this is very much Rise of Skywalker, or at least a sequel trilogy, prequel book in a way. So that's probably turned some of you off. The disturbance in the Force is undeniable. Hang on, is this linked to the mission that Lando mentions in the Rise of Skywalker that he went on with Luke? It must all be connected. It's Star Wars after all, modern Star Wars. Anyway, the disturbance in the Force is undeniable, and Luke's worst fears are confirmed when his old friend Lando Calrissian comes to meet him with reports of a new Sith menace. After his daughter was stolen from his arms, Lando searched for stars for any trace of his lost child. But every new rumor only led to dead ends and fading hopes until he crossed paths with Ochi of Bestoon, a Sith assassin tasked with kidnapping a young girl. Ochi's true motives remain shrouded to Luke and Lando, for on a junkyard moon, a mysterious envoy of the Sith Eternal has bequeathed, I can't even say that, a sacred blade, am I doing okay, to the assassin, promising that it will give him answers to the questions that have haunted him since the Empire fell. In exchange, he must complete a final mission, return to Exegol with the key to the Sith's glorious rebirth, the granddaughter of Darth Sidious himself, Rey. So this is not going to be one for the ones who didn't like the sequels. As Ochi hunts Rey and her parents to the edge of the galaxy, Luke and Lando race into the mystery of the Sith's lingering shadow and aid a young family running for their lives. Star Wars Brotherhood. Now this one sounds cool as well. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker must stem the tide of the raging Clone Wars and forge a new bond as Jedi Knights. Interesting. I mean, of course, there's going to be many, many more books about the Clone Wars and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin. It's a popular partnership. It's a popular time period. It's definitely a time period that Star Wars are invested in, with the Bad Batch, for example, being just off the back of the Clone Wars. I imagine there would have been books like this regardless of a Kenobi series, but still, this is obviously, you would imagine, designed to help build on the hype for the Kenobi series, which will feature Hayden Christensen, as we know. So that's cool. And then Stories of Jedi and Sith, which for me actually sounds the most interesting. The battle between good and evil never ends. So I believe it's a series of stories all about the Jedi and Sith in different kind of timelines. And it does include some famous characters, popular characters like Luke and Darth and Kenobi. And I guess some new ones as well. And then there is also Star Wars Padawan. It is nearly wine. I don't drink wine really, but I suppose it would nearly be wine o'clock, I guess, somewhere, I suppose. Anyway, loads of stuff that was announced recently, so you can go and look that up yourself if you want more information. Right, let's pop over to the chat because I haven't been there for a while. Peter, No Time to Die is tomorrow. No Time to Die. Okay. Yellow is a good color. I can see tie-dye being mentioned. Chad enjoyed the Halloween special. I think Gaz is also talking about the Halloween special, not No Time to Die. He watched it with his son, and it's not really for me, but it was funny. I guess it's a good family thing, isn't it? Glenn the Geeky Hippie has still not watched Visions. How dare you? It's all right. It's all right. To be honest, again, it opened my mind to possibilities of what Star Wars can do with non-canon material, and I'm there for it. It didn't necessarily make me want to go and watch more anime, although I still need to watch Simon D's suggestion as well. Right, the chat's just skipped along to the end. I think there's a lot of who's going to be the next Bond talk on this Star Wars stream. How dare you all? Now, that's a question I can't answer for obvious aforementioned reasons, but I'm sure somebody in the chat can. Did they ever write a book about Lando's Battle of Tyden, mentioned in Return of the Jedi? Surprised they haven't milked that reference. If they haven't milked it already, it's going to get milked at some point. I can see Idris Elba being mentioned. I think I like... Is Idris too old? Wasn't Daniel Craig like 38 for his first Bond movie? I suppose it really... Yeah, I don't want to say too much about No Time to Die, obviously, for obvious reasons. So, yeah, what about Reggie? What's his name? From Bridgerton. Anyway, 11 minutes remaining. I've just seen from Chad. All right, let's get into this. I would go as far as saying our main story. Now, I've just got to get it ready. You know, I'm not the smoothest with this software that I use. So I wish you could have them all teed up at once, rather than having to do it manually each time. Now, I'm going to actually clip this. So if you see this pop up on your YouTube feed, like in the next day or two, you know you've seen it already, assuming that you stick around for the next few minutes. So you don't have to click again, unless you want to. But remember to watch it all the way through because it's all about retention and hitting that like button apparently here on YouTube. So let's talk about a man, a former boy who could have been the young Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace back in 1999. By the way, shout out to Supreme Leader Brad Snoke for bringing this to my attention just the other day. Now, of course, thousands of child actors were up for the role, actually 3,000 to be precise, the role of young Anakin Skywalker. And this mini documentary is really good. It's directed by Ben Proudfoot for the New York Times here on YouTube for free, and it focuses on one child, now man, who was up for the role and actually made it to the final three. There he is. You can see him there. Devon Michael, aka the Unchosen One. The role, of course, eventually went to Jake Lloyd. And you can imagine, without watching this documentary, you can imagine the heartache this child actor must have gone through in getting so close and then not getting it. And he talks about the excitement of hearing from his mom that he's auditioning for, at the time, the biggest film ever. Plus, he was a massive Star Wars fan. And at 9 years of age, he was acting. He'd had a number of roles in movies, US TV shows, commercials. And he knew this one, if he got it, would be life-changing. So there was pressure on him for so many different reasons. He doesn't come from a rich family. You know, this would have been life-changing in so many ways. But then hearing the news that, no, you won't be going on this adventure of a lifetime after all, must have been devastating. And also, not just the fact you won't get it, you also won't be able to forget the fact you didn't get it. Because, you know, when the hype train starts rolling, building up to the release of this thing, it's something so big. It's unavoidable. There's a constant reminder for you out there of what could have been. And then, and we've talked about this documentary a lot, the Phantom Menace behind the scenes documentary, which is brilliant. That comes out. He's in it, getting essentially rejected in front of the whole world. And he actually stopped acting over it, over this rejection, over the response, you know, to the rejection, because he got teased at school a little bit as well for being the guy that, you know, was almost in Star Wars. It killed his acting dream. But when you look back now, and this is where the documentary gets really, really interesting. It's short. It's only 15 minutes. I'm probably going to talk about it longer for how long it actually is. When you look back at it now, or when he looks back through his 32-year-old eyes, through his own dismay, yes, and also all of the criticism and bullying that Jake Lloyd went through, how difficult Jake Lloyd's life has been since actually getting the role he missed out on. When he looks back at it through all of that, Devon Michael looks at the rejection very differently now. Like, not getting what he wanted was actually a blessing. And it's really powerful, the power of hindsight. And that's it in a nutshell, basically. But go check it out for more on the lengthy audition process. It was a real process, and George Lucas was heavily involved. He went to Skywalker Ranch, met George Lucas, obviously. Jake Lloyd, he auditioned with Natalie Portman. Talks about the pain of rejection, the real-life dark side that led to, and of course, coming back to the light as well. I mean, the New York Times don't need the Geeknd for support, but of course, I have linked to it in this video description, and I do urge you to go check it out. It's really well made and definitely not a waste of 15 minutes of your life as opposed to watching my videos. But anyway, I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely worth going to have a look at. Right, let's pop over to the chat to see what people are saying. Where were we last time? Where were we? I know my hair is even worse than normal at the moment. As I did mention, if anyone's joined late, I've had a bit of flu. It's not been a solid 7 days in the life of Jamie Stangroom. Right, okay, I'm seeing all the Bond stuff. I'm seeing Chad keeping an eye on the time for me. We're doing all right. We've got a few minutes. We're doing all right. So there was three. Devon Michael, Jake Lloyd, obviously. I don't know the third guy's name. He looks like the one from Glenn the Spooky Hippie here that was better in the final auditions that you can watch on the features. Yeah, the documentary shows clips of him and then Jake Lloyd, and there's not much in it, to be honest. There's not much in it. And also the documentary sort of shows Devon Michael's reactions to hearing some of the comments as to why he wasn't chosen, or at least to why Jake Lloyd was chosen over him. And, these were isolated comments taken in some ways out of context, out of tone, but still they were quite impactful on him. So that documentary, was quite damaging for him when you watch this this New York Times documentary. You'll see. Jake Lloyd was actually the worst performance of the three who auditioned. Clays agrees, and I can see the Sarge. Sarge was loving Visions as well. And sorry if I've missed anything. It's done that thing where it skips to the end again. Copy and paste if I've missed something that's really important. Simon D, what about the third kid from the Phantom Menace making of? The blank kid was better than Jake Lloyd, but sounds like being Anakin equals a nightmare. Even Hayden or David Prowse had, future mayors. And I'm actually making a video at the moment about this. Hayden's obviously been reappraised retrospectively, and Jake Lloyd hasn't. And I'm starting to wonder if that's fair, but more on that in a future video that I'm currently crafting. But what about the third kid? I imagine for this documentary, they approached the third kid as well, possibly to make it about both of them. I'm assuming if that's the case, I'm assuming he wasn't available, didn't want to be involved. Perhaps he's completely turned his back on it. Devon Michael is doing really well these days. He's married. He's a children's book author. So, for him, this was probably a chance to plug one of his books, because there's also an article in the New York Times about it as well. But I think you have to be a member to read it online. So anyway, the YouTube video's free. And Chad says, he could have been ridiculed by forums forever and been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Yeah, I suppose... it could have been a lot worse for him if he did get the role. Yeah, as we're saying. And we talked about Ahmed Best and obviously the backlash he received. And he said himself how much worse this could have been if it happened now, in the true social media age. So, better then than now, but obviously better never than then, I guess. Yes, smash that like button, everybody. Smash that like button. Actually, I have to say the Unchosen one's not my line. That's actually in the documentary. So I wasn't trolling him there. It's in the documentary. Chad Campbell's not holding back. Meanwhile, he's definitely trolling. Hayden was awful, as was Jake Lloyd. You're not going to like the video I'm making then. And Astramus, hello to you, Astramus. If a child performance is bad, the director should be blamed, not the child. And this comes into my video, which I need to stop talking about because there's been no point in anybody watching it. Soon. Maybe there's no point in anyone watching it anyway, but it's YouTube, baby. It's like Ahmed, the flack Ahmed got for Jar Jar. But don't forget, Ahmed learned a script that he did not write, for a character that he did not develop, for a voice that he did not choose. There's so many different aspects of Jar Jar that got criticized. He was even accused of being a racist character. Ahmed was not responsible for any of that. So if you have a problem with a character, or a film, you need to sort of look beyond the actor sometimes, And I think we all know that George Lucas isn't the most hands-on director, So perhaps, for getting the best performance possible out of a child actor particularly, maybe he's not the best director for the job, but he is still George Lucas. After all, I ain't talking him down. And Simon D has summed it up. They did what was asked of them by the director, so they don't deserve to have their careers ruined, life ruined, in some respects. And, there's a lot that can be talked about with Jake Lloyd. He's my number one for this channel in terms of interviews. He really is. And I know a lot of you have asked and said it would be so cool. And I agree. He's number one. He's above any of your Harrison Fords, Mark Hamills. For me, he went in terms of the interviews for this channel. you know, he ticks all the boxes of what this channel was about when it first started with the interview series. So he's the one. He's the one. But I'm going to make a few videos on what's happened to him since, and also why I believe, at least, he should be, his performance should be reappraised. Because Hayden's like flavor of the, I'm not going to say flavor of the month, he's flavor of the many months these days, isn't he? A large portion of the fan base who previously, you know, maybe were indifferent to him, his performance, are actually, you know, very excited to see him coming back in the Kenobi series. And of course, younger fans who grew up with him as their Anakin, they were always on board with his performance. But yeah, I think the performance of an actor, certainly in Star Wars, you know, with interesting scripts, and obviously environments around you with for the prequels, particularly heavy green and blue screens, you know, it goes beyond the actor themselves when it comes to making judgments. You do need to look a little bit deeper, in my opinion. But anyway, we have just gone over the 30-minute mark. Chad will be furious, I'm sure. And therefore, it is time to wrap up. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Did I make any notes? Have I missed anything? No, it seems to be all good. Thank you all. I hope you're all having a good week. I hope you all have a good rest of the week. And I don't know if this time was any better than last week. I've been trying different times. So sorry, it's a little bit all over the place. Maybe we'll do this time again or an hour earlier. I'm trying to find the best time. We're never going to suit everybody. I'm trying to find the best time that suits everybody on both sides of the pond. So, or wherever else you are, whatever side of the pond you're on. So, yeah, smash the like button. As Gaz Nottingham says, thank you, Marco, as well. And there we go. Matt Lanta is Glenn the Spooky Hippies, Anakin. But yeah, thank you, everybody. And No Time to Die. I recommend it, but I'm not a big Bond fan. But Simon D is a huge Bond fan, and I know he recommends it as well. So if you want to see what the Last Jedi of Bond movies is all about, go and see No Time to Die. I really enjoyed it, and that's enough non-Star Wars chat on this very much usually Star Wars stream these days. So thank you, everybody. And Caleb, nice to see you right at the end. Yeah, skip back in time, do some time travel, and head back 33 minutes or something to the start of the stream. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you all this time-ish next week. All right, take care. Keep waving till I click the end broadcast button. Keep waving, everybody.